This tutorial looks specifically at how we can write data to a text file using VisualBasic.NET functions. You can see here I have a text file with the names of 3 sports. This is known as a sequential text file. It's sequential because these names of sports are stored in different lines. When we read data from this text file into our program, we take one line at a time and transfer the contents of that line into our program. And you've seen that in a previous video. When we save data to the file, we're also saving things line by line as well, so again it's sequential in nature. When we come to our main program, you can see here I've actually divided it into 4 subs. Sub main, it looks like there's quite a lot of code there, but in actual fact a lot of it is prettiness. I read data from the text file, I ask the user to enter the name of a new sport that we're going to save. I ask them how they want to save. Do they want to append that sport to the end of the existing list, or just override everything that already exists? And then I call one of 2 subs, depending on what they've just chosen, append or overwrite. Then finally, we reread data from the text file back into our program just so we can see what was in that text file. So you've seen in a previous video how we can read data from a text file into our program. In this particular example, I am not storing this data. It's not in an array or anything like that. It's just taking the data from the text file and putting it straight to the console window. Write data with append, well, it's a 3-step process to save data to a file. Step 1 is we've got to open the file, and it's very similar to the way we open the file for reading. We specify a number, 1 if I've only got one file open. We then specify the path and name of the file. I've got this file sports.txt stored in my bin debug folder, which is why I don't have a path to that file. When we read data into the program, we went OpenMode.Input. When we save data to the program, the OpenMode.whatever changes. So OpenMode.Append allows us just to tack the new sport, for example, to the end of the list of sports that we already have in the file. This line here, PrintLine, print here means save, to file number 1, sports.txt, and new sport is a parameter that I've passed into this function that contains the name of the sport that we enter. Once we're done, we close the file. So file open with 3 parameters is the equivalent of turning the tap on. Print line, or saving a piece of data in particular, is a bit like letting the water flow from the tap. And file close, once we're done, let's turn the tap off. If I come down here to write data with output, this time it's the same 3-step exercise, except OpenMode.Append becomes OpenMode.Output. The line to save that data is exactly the same as with append, and again we close the file once we're done. So let's see this in action. If I run the program, these 3 names have been read from the text file straight into the console window. Remember, in this example I'm not storing the data in an array or anything like that. Let's add a new name, new sport, to this file. I'm going to try appending it first. Now these 4 names now have again been reread into my console window from the text file. If I press enter to close that, this is just saying there have been changes made to your text file. Do you want to save them? Yes, I do. If I come over here, you can see there's my original 3, and now I've got tennis as well. If I rerun this program, let's call it netball. This time I'm going to overwrite the existing file. You can see this has been reread, and I've now only got one sport name. If I make changes to that file, you can see straight away over here only netball is there. So you've got OpenMode.Input to read data from the file. You've got OpenMode.Append to not only save data to the file, but just tack that new data onto the end of what it already exists. And you've got OpenMode.Output that overwrites all existing contents of the text file, as we've just seen with what happened when we added netball.